Oh, hello, great readers. I'm Belchan.
I'm Nima.
I'm Banchan.
In this class, I'll read to all of you. Chap. 18 Sec. 1 of Jane Eyre, an autobiography.
As.
Ah.
Jane Eyre, an autobiography. Brontë. Chap. 18 Sec. 1. Merry days were these at Thornfield Hall. And busy days too. How different from the first 3 months of stillness, monotony, and solitude I had passed beneath its roof. All sad feelings seemed now driven from the house, all gloomy associations forgotten. There was life everywhere, movement all day long. You could not now traverse the gallery, once so hushed, nor into the front chambers, once so tenantless, without encountering a smart dismayed or a dainty valet. The kitchen, the butler's pantry, the servants' hall, the entrance hall were equally alive. Sunshine of the genial spring weather called their occupants out into the grounds. Even when that weather was broken, and continuous rain set in for some days, no damp seemed cast over enjoyment. Indoor amusements only became more lively and varied, in consequence of the stop put outdoor gaiety was proposed. They spoke of playing parades, but in my ignorance I did not understand the term. The servants were called in. The dining room tables whirled away. The lights otherwise disposed. The chairs placed in a semicircle opposite the arch. While Mr. Rochester and the other gentlemen directed these alterations, the ladies were running up and downstairs ringing for their maids. Mice. Fairfax was summoned to give information respecting the resources of the house in Shaw's. Dresses, draperies of any kind, and certain wardrobes of the third story were ransacked, and their contents, in the shape of brocade petticoats, satin sacos, black modes, lace labettes, and sea, were brought down in armfuls by the Abigails. Then a selection was made, and such things as were chosen were carried to the boudoir within the drawing room. Meantime, Mr. Rochester had again summoned the ladies round him, and was selecting certain of their number to be of his party. Miss Ingram is mine. Of course, said he. Afterwards he named the two Mrs. Ishton. And my stint. He looked at me, him, as I had been fastening the clasp of my stud bracelet, which had got loose. Will you play? He asked. I shook my head. He did not insist, which I rather feared he would have done. Allowed me to return quietly to my usual seat, behind the curtain. The other party, which was headed by Colonel Dent, sat down on the crescent of chairs. One of the gentlemen, Mr. Ishton, observing me, then but Lady Ingram instantly negatived the notion. No, I heard her say ere long the bell tinkled, and the curtain drew up. Within the arch, bulky figure of Sir George Lind, whom Mr. Chosen was seen enveloped in a white sheet. Before him lay open a large book, and at his side stood Amy Ishton, draped in Mr. Rochester's cloak and holding a book in her hand. Somebody, unseen, rang the bell merrily on being one of her guardian's party. bounded forward, contents of a basket of flowers she carried on her. Magnificent figure of Miss Ingram clad in white heads, and a wreath of roses round her brow. Mr. Rochester and together they drew near the table. While mice, Dent and Losertion, dressed also in white, their stations. Behind them, a ceremony followed. In dumb show it was easy to recognise the pantomime of a marriage. At its termination, Colonel Dent and his party consulted in whispers for 2 minutes, called out, "Bright." Mr. Rochester bowed and the curtain fell, lapsed before it again. Was then the last. The drawing room, as I have before observed, 2 steps above the dining room, and on the top of the upper step placed a yard or 2 back when the room appeared a large marble basin, which I recognised as an ornament of the conservatory where it usually stood by exotics, some trouble on account of its size and weight. Seated on the carpet by the side of this basin was seen Mr. Rochester, shawls with a turban on. His head and pin and features suited the costume exactly. Eastern Emir, an agent or a victim of the bust. View Miss Ingram, too, was attired in Oriental fashion, crimson scarf tied sash-like round the waist, an embroidered handkerchief knotted about her temples, her beautifully moulded arms bare, a pitcher poised gracefully on her head. Vito, her complexion and her general air, princess of the patriarchal days, represent. She approached the basin, but she again lifted it to her. It now seemed to accost her, to make some request she asked. The chair on her hand, robe. He then produced a casket, opened it, and showed magnificent bracelets and earrings. She acted astonishment and admiration, kneeling. Face, incredulity and delight were expressed by her looks and gestures. Fastened the bracelets on her arms and the rings in her ears. Eliezer and Rebecca, the camels only were wanting. Heads together illustrated. Colonel Dent, their spokesman. The curtain again descended, disclosed the rest. Being concealed by a screen, dark and coarse drapery, the marble basin was removed. In its place stood a deal table in the kitchen. Share, very dim light proceeding from a horn lantern, the wax candles being all extinguished. Amidst this sordid scene, knees and his as bent on the ground. I knew Mr. Rochester, though the begrimed face, arm, as if it had been almost torn from his back. In a scuffle, the disparate and scowling countenance, the rough disguised. As he moved, a chain clanked at ash feathers. Bridewell, exclaimed Colonel Dent, and the charade was solved, having elapsed for that. The formers to resume their ordinary costume, they re-entered the dining room. Rochester led Miss Ingram acting. "Do you know," said she, "that of the 3 characters like you in the last best? Oh, years earlier, is all the soot washed from my face?" He asked it towards her. "Us? Yes, the more's the pity. Of the road would be the next best thing to in. Italian bandit, well, whatever I am, remember you are my wife, since in the presence of all these witnesses." She giggled. Colour rose. "Now, Dent," continued Mr. Rochester, as the other party withdrew, he and his band took the vacated seats. Miss Ingram placed herself at her leader's right hand, chair on each side of a mentor. Actors, I no longer waited with interest for the curtain to rise. Attention was absorbed by the spectators. My eyes, a while fixed on the arch, were now irresistibly attracted to the semicircle of Jairus and his party played. What word they chose, how they acquitted themselves, I no longer remember, but I still see the consultation which followed each scene. I see Mr. Rochester turn to Miss Ingram, him. I see her incline her head towards him, almost. Touch his shoulder and wave against his cheek. I hear their mutual whisperings. I recall their interchanged glances. The spectacle returns the memory of this moment. I have told you, reader, that I had learned to love. Mr. Rochester now passed hours in his presence, my direction because I saw all his attentions appropriated by a great lady to touch me with. The hem of her robes as she passed flew if ever her. Dark and imperious I fell on me by chance. It instantly is woman. Object you mean to merit observation. To be continued.